Welcome to the news on Enyimba TV. We are reaching you from the commercial city of Aba. First, the headlines. Aba Hospital Management Board workers lock out directors over alleged slashed salaries. President Tinubu inaugurates Southern Traditional Rulers Council in Owerri. Organizers reject IGP's proposal for confined protests, insist on street processions. Thanks for joining us on the news at this time. I am Mary Ihejirika. Now the news in details. Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Oti has appealed to traditional rulers, leaders of religious organizations, and other community leaders to advise their people against resorting to violence, even as youths across the country plan to start the hashtag End Bad Governance protest on August 1, 2024. He made the appeal during a statewide broadcast to Abia residents. The governor also expressed concerns that the planned national protest may escalate into violence, potentially harming vulnerable and weak individuals in the country. He also advised other youths to exercise restraint and engage with leaders through a charter of demands. Meanwhile, Abia State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) is vowing to protect critical national assets in the state from destruction during the forthcoming nationwide protests. The commandant of NSCDC in Abia State, Osman Ishaq Afadari, assured the public that the Corps is fully prepared to protect lives and properties and all national assets and infrastructure in Abia State during and after the protests. He gave the assurance while addressing a gathering of officers and men of the command and members of the press regarding the planned nationwide protests. He said that credible intelligence and experience have shown that criminal elements may hijack the protests as an opportunity to destroy public and private properties and threaten people's lives. Staff of the Abia State Hospital Management Board (HMB) Umuahia staged what they described as a peaceful protest to register the displeasure over alleged slash of their May, June and July 2024 salaries. The workers during the protest sealed the offices of the Chief Executive of the HMB, Odochi Azubike, Director of Finance, Awa Odo, and the Director of Administration, Chidozie Emezue, accusing them of intimidation and insensitivity. According to HMB staff, who were led by David Otuunyeneme, the chairman of Allied Action Congress in the organization, and Chidinma Nwokoma, chairperson of Medical and Health Workers Union, many of the workers have been experiencing regular and unexplained deductions in their salaries since May, while some of those having accounts in a particular bank are yet to receive their July 2024 salaries. They praised Governor Alex Oti for keeping to his promise of paying them on or before 28th of every month, but lamented that the slashing of their salaries for 3 months in this period of economic hardship is unacceptable. Organizers of the planned hashtag End Bad Governance nationwide demonstrations slated for August have rejected a proposal by the Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Egbetakun for confined protest. At a meeting with the organizers, the IGP suggested confined protests in identified locations and advised against street rallies. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana-San, who was part of the 25 persons that participated in the meeting, reiterated what it expected of the police force. Ebolu Adeboruwa-San, a lawyer of the Take It Back movement, representatives of the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA), other lawyers, civil society organizations, as well as some arrowheads of the planned protest also rejected the proposal of the IGP. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police insisted and warned that against street procession, which he said could be hijacked by fifth columnists and enemies of the state. Meanwhile, security personnel deployed to safeguard the planned nationwide hashtag End Bad Governance protest will wear body cam to monitor on the spot situation in order to counter fake news from mischief makers during the rally. This is according to the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Igbotokun, during an interagency security meeting at the force headquarters, Abuja, in preparation for the protest period. He reiterated the commitment and preparedness of the Nigerian police force to protect all peaceful protesters. Some suspected thugs in Lagos have taken to the streets to warn residents of the state not to join the protest scheduled for August 1. In a now viral clip, the hoodlums were seen wielding big sticks among other weapons as they were shouting in Yoruba language, warning residents of the state to desist from the planned protest, which is aimed at urging the government to stop bad governance. The viral video cited by Enyimba TV showed the suspected thugs, who seemed to be in the market space, daring anyone from coming out for the planned protest. This development comes amid several calls from the government, leaders and civil society organizations to shelve the anticipated protest. Moahid Asari-Dokubo is warning those behind the planned nationwide protest against hardship to forget about extending it to the Niger Delta. The former Niger Delta freedom fighter stated this in Port Harcourt, River State capital, at the Niger Delta Sensitization Conference for Ethnic Nationalities, Youths and Women. Asari-Dokubo said the agenda of those behind the protest is at a variance with the problems of the people of Niger Delta. He told them to expect resistance, while alleging that they were merely interested in the resources coming from the Niger Delta, describing them as anarchists. A Lagos High Court has granted an ex-parte application filed by the State Attorney General, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Lawal Pedro, seeking to restrict the proposed August 1 nationwide protest in Lagos to the Gani Fawehinmi Freedom Park in Ojota and the Peace Park in Ketu. Justice Emmanuel Ogundare granted the order of preemptive remedy by way of an interim injunction to restrict the defendants from converging and carrying out the proposed protest in Lagos from August 1 to 10th, except in the two approved locations from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. While moving his application before the court, the Attorney General argued that as the Chief Law Officer of the state and having been privy to notices by different interests who are for and against the nationwide protest, there is a need to protect the critical infrastructures of the state and prevent an irreparable loss of lives and property as witnessed during the EndSARS protest in 2020. Pedro also maintained that the police in the state does not have sufficient manpower to provide security support for the protesters who plan to protest in all the local government councils, public highways and other areas of public access in the state. President Bola Tinubu has urged southern traditional rulers to ensure that peace reigns always in their domains. The president, who was represented by the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, SGF, Senator George Akume, spoke during the inauguration of the Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Speaking during the inauguration, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma called on the Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council from the 17 states of the region to reach out to the northern counterparts to unite Nigeria. The group has the Oni of Ife, Adeyeye Eniton Ogunwosi, as the chairman of the Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council. The co-chairmen are Obi of Obinuku, Ezekletus Olumuanya, and King Jaja of Opobo. Dandasin Douglas Jaja, Dean of Abo, Benjamin Ikenchuku Ekaborukuzi One is the secretary. Chief of Naval Staff CNS Emmanuel Ogala says Nigeria Navy apprehended more than 35 ships involved in oil theft in the nation's waters. Mr. Ogala, a vice admiral who made this known during a meeting of maritime stakeholders in Abuja, said the apprehended vessels were handed over to the appropriate prosecuting authorities. He said that the Navy had rejigged its operations and established Operation Delta Sanity in January and sustained its maritime security operations through surveillance, response capability, and law enforcement, in addition to collaboration with all maritime stakeholders. Senator representing Borno South at the National Assembly, Ali Ndume, has rejected the new office allocated to him by the Senate Services Committee. According to parliamentary practices, Ndume is expected to move to another office following his sacking as the whip of the Senate. Ndume was asked to vacate his current office and move to the third floor to allow for the new chief whip, Senator Tahiru Mungunu, to take over the office. Responding to his allocation to a new office on the third floor, Ndume, in a letter addressed to the chairman, Senate Services Committee, Senator Sunday Karimi, on Tuesday, said the office given him did not reflect his seniority and high-ranking posture at the Senate. Senator representing the FCT, Ireti Kingibe, is demanding an apology from Wike, the FCT minister, over his comments on threatening to unseat her as an FCT senator in 2027. Kingibe and Wike have not had a good working relationship since they assumed their respective offices. Both politicians have lashed out at each other on various occasions. She expressed her willingness to work with Wike if he apologizes to her for telling her to go and hug Transformer. According to her, Kotsi demands that Wike shouldn't talk to her in that manner. Bayelsa State government has commenced the distribution of rice and other foodstuffs donated to the state by the federal government to cushion the effects of the harsh economy on the people. The distribution of the foodstuffs were flagged off in Yenagoa, the state capital, with Governor Doye Diri ordering that no political appointees or civil servants should benefit from the distribution. Speaking during the distribution, the Commissioner for Information, Orientation and Strategy, Ebiowu Koko Obiya, said the governor had already directed that the items be given to vulnerable persons in all the political wards in the state. Koko Obiya said the state received 20 trucks of rice containing 24,000 pieces of 25 kg of rice from the federal government for distribution to vulnerable people. Hoodlums attacked a bus loaded with palliatives belonging to the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, Cross River State Council. The pen professionals, upon receiving information from the director of Cross River State Emergency Management Agency, CRSEMA, Reverend James Anam, as beneficiaries of the present phase of distribution, hurriedly moved to the government warehouse and successfully conveyed the food items. The palliative-laden vehicle en route to the NUJ Secretariat was attacked with hoodlums raining hails of stones on the slowly moving vehicle, cutting away food items from the broken windows. The bus driver, Joseph Akbanin, whose phone was stolen and himself left with a battered shoulder from the attack, narrated that their saving grace was when the booth of the bus flung open with several bags of rice and garbage dropping off. He said the mob's focus shifted from the bus to the items dropped off, giving enough way for him to scamper to safety. Veteran Nigerian singer, songwriter and actress Onyeka Onwenu is dead. Onwenu reportedly died Tuesday evening at the Reddington Hospital, Lagos, after she slumped after playing at the birthday party of Mrs. Stella Okoli. An eyewitness who was at the party confirmed the sad news. Onwenu was born in 1952 in Obosi, Anambra State. She began her music career in the 1980s. Onwenu has also acted in several Nollywood films and won numerous awards for her contributions to the music and film. In addition to her entertainment career, Onwenu has also been involved in politics. She will be greatly missed. You're watching Enyimba TV News. After the short break, the news continues with foreign, business and sports update. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Now the news continues. On the foreign scene, an arrest warrant has been issued for Liberia's former finance minister following allegations he was involved in a $500 million corruption scam. Samuel Twe, along with 4 other senior officials, in former President George Weah's administration have been indicted for allegedly stealing from the government when they were in office. Mr. Tuwe, who was previously sanctioned by the U.S. for corruption, called the indictment a politically motivated witch hunt against him and other 4 former officials. The Weah administration, whose 6 years in power ended in January, was plagued with allegations of corruption and financial mismanagement. And on business, Nigeria Customs Service has suspended import duties and taxes on essential food items. This was revealed in a video posted on X by the Customs Comptroller General Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, where he said the suspension is to make food items affordable for Nigerians. He acknowledged that the global inflation is affecting nations, including Nigeria, saying customs is committed to implementing the federal government's directive on the suspension of tariffs on essential items. In another development, the Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal (CCPT) has struck out a subscription price hike case instituted against MultiChoice Nigeria. A 3-member tribunal struck out the suit following a request by the claimant, Festus Onifade, to withdraw his case against MultiChoice. Onifade, who made an oral application for the withdrawal, said he no longer intends to proceed with the matter. He also expressed the view that MultiChoice would leverage the period of the court's annual vacation to argue its appeal at the Court of Appeal and frustrate his case. And on sports, against 2 consecutive defeats at the ongoing women's football tournament of the Olympic Games, the Super Falcons are condemned to win to be mathematically sure of qualification into the event's next round. The Nigerian team has suffered 2 narrow defeats, first against Brazil in the opening match, followed by another long goal loss to world champions Spain on Sunday. Japan fell hard to the Super Falcons in the Women's Olympic Football Tournament match in Greece in 2004 when Vera Okolo's strike was the only goal of the match and earned Nigeria all 3 points. Nigeria and Japan are both targeting a place in the Olympic quarterfinals, and a win for either side would do their campaign a lot of good. After 2 rounds of matches, the Falcons are at the bottom of their group, following back-to-back defeats against Brazil and Spain, while Japan are sitting in second place in Group C with 3 points to their name. With a sports story, we'll wrap up this edition of news on Enyimba TV at this time. But before we go, here is a recap of the top stories. In the news, we told you that Abia State Hospital Management Board workers, they locked out directors over alleged slashed salaries. We also told you President Tinubu has inaugurated Southern Traditional Rulers Council in Owerri. And we told you that organizers of the #EndBad Governance protest have rejected IGP's proposal for confined protests, insisting on street processions. And that's our package of news for now. Please join us for more updates in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Click on the notification bell to receive alerts when new videos are uploaded. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the production team, I am Mary Ihejirika saying do have yourself an amazing day.